Okay. I know I said we do it live, but... Okay. I know I said we do it live, but... Okay. I know I said we do it live, but... Okay. I don't know why it's so quiet. Why is it not picking it up again? It's not picking it up again. Is it not picking it up because I turned OBS down? Okay, we're running into a bit of an issue here because if I open this and I turned up this OBS again, it's going to create a feedback loop, and I don't know. I turned up this OBS again, it's going to create a feedback loop, and I don't know. I turned up this OBS again, it's going to create a feedback loop, and I don't know. I don't want there to be a feedback loop, obviously.
Publicly for that.
But that's the only way. I don't want there to be a feedback loop, obviously.
Publicly for that.
But that's the only way. Okay. Hopefully I have it solved. I don't know. Maybe the feedback loop is being created because I have to stream up on another window, but... Let's try that again, you know? Good God. Scuffed. It's the only way I know how to do things, I guess. Okay, let's restart this. Okay, so to recap again, James Somerton released an apology video. It's been a little while. Obviously, there was the H-bomb video that completely blew James the fuck out and kind of forced him into hiding for a little bit. I don't know what James Somerton has been up to since then, but I noticed that this was out, obviously, because everyone probably knows. So I wanted to go over it because I'm very interested. I don't particularly care for James Somerton. I don't have a strong opinion on him necessarily. I watched a few of his videos. I thought he was okay. And then obviously I watched the H-bomb video. And, you know, there's a lot of erasure that he contributed to of, like, queer authors and queer figures in general. I think that's pretty scummy, especially considering I consider myself a part of the LGBTQ community, you know. So we're going to see what he has to say for himself.
Just a disclosure, this video is monetized, but revenue from it will be sent along to H-Bomber Guy's team to be dispersed to the people whose work I plagiarized. If his team won't accept it, I'll be making monthly donations to Wikipedia and Trans Lifeline.
Okay, I do just want to say off the bat, I think it's very funny that he's, like, giving the money to H-Bomb to have H-Bomb distribute the money when James should be the one reaching out to the authors he plagiarized and giving them the money. I just think it's very funny. A little bit of a outsourcing of his job
going forward.
as usual.
You may have also noticed that a few of my past videos have gone up on the channel again, and revenue from those as well will also be sent along with the revenue from this video. Over the last couple of months, I've been getting in touch with the people who I plagiarized to apologize one-on-one instead of a mass apology. It's a bit difficult because many of them don't have public email addresses, so I'm still working on it, but it is a top priority of mine. I've heard back from a few of them, and
Also, from what I understand, James Somerton is generally like kind of a Weasley slimy dude who doesn't really own up to anything he's done and constantly lies about it too. So, you know, I've seen clips here and there, but yeah.
they were actually incredibly
I don't
nice,
have any reasonable expectation
accepting
that
my
he's being
apology
genuine
and
here.
just imploring me to do better in the future. So I want to thank them publicly for that. There's plenty that I haven't heard back from, and I completely understand that. In many cases, I wouldn't want to talk to me either. I also want to apologize to my audience, though. You trusted me to be a good representative of the queer community, and I was not that. I tried to be. I tried to be a voice for...
Well, I just want to say, no, he didn't. He didn't try to be a voice. He actively committed to, or contributed to erasure of queer voices. In fact, like, I'm sorry, but if James Somerton had never, you know, released the videos he did, plagiarizing the works he did, I can't help but feel like, you know, I wouldn't say they'd be more recognized, but they'd definitely be much more respected. They wouldn't be covered up to such a degree.
Every member of the queer community, but that was a failed endeavor before it even started. I'm a cis white gay man. No matter how much I try to be a good spokesperson, I can never really truly understand the life experiences of other far more put upon members of the queer community. This is one of the reasons that I would use their own words, but I should have made it very clear that that's what I was doing.
Okay, right off the bat, like, first of all, the whole I am a cis white a gay man, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, I can never speak on behalf of these people, which, dude, come on. Like, I understand that being a part of, like, a marginalized group or just a smaller community, just being a part of it does give you a little more insight than someone who isn't, obviously, but, like, that, it just feels like it's meant to downplay what he did. Also, you know, him saying that he was trying to speak on behalf of them using their own words, that's just an excuse. You know, he plagiarized, we all know that, and he's just trying to cover it up by appealing to, well, his audience is broadly queer, so he's trying to kind of softball what he did.
I never ever thought that I was the only voice out there, as some have said, but being a cis white man, I thought I might be able to win over some people who wouldn't otherwise listen, unless it was someone who looks and sounds just like them. And so I tried speaking for everyone.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't. I think you in cases where it's like, oh, I'm a cis white man, obviously, as a cis white man, you're going to have a bit more attention and like credence given to you as a result of that. And you should try and use that to the benefit of the groups you claim to represent. But, you know, shit, I'm struggling here. I'm struggling. I'm sorry. Sleepy day.
Being a cis white man, I thought I might be able to win over some people who wouldn't otherwise listen, unless it was someone who looks and sounds just like them. And so I tried speaking for everyone. And this was a horrible...
Yeah, so, like, he wasn't trying to... in his endeavor to speak for them, he ended up speaking over them. I don't think there's anything wrong, like I said, with using your position as, like, a cis white guy to try to appeal to people who are cis white guys who wouldn't otherwise listen to, like, you know, a person of color or, like, a trans person or whatever. But that's not what he did here. He wasn't trying to speak for them. He was trying to take their work and pass it off as his own, and build respect off of the backs of other people.
Horrible mistake. What I thought was being inclusive ended up leading to a lot of people feeling left out and even offended. This fell upon Nick as well, as a non-binary person on the ace spectrum. They wanted to include asexuality and non-binary representation in our videos, but because Nick's experience is not universal, there is no...
Yeah, so let's go
like
back
them.
a little bit.
And so I tried speaking for everyone. And this was a horrible mistake. What I thought was being inclusive ended up leading to a lot of people feeling left out and even offended.
Yeah, look, he like I said, he's already trying to downplay it. People are upset because they felt left out or offended. No, dude, they're mad because you took their work. You passed it off as your own. You erased the exposure that they could have otherwise had. You know, you were literally taking money from an author that was a fan of yours. You were taking money from her and stealing her work at the same time. Just blatant. You should have displayed a bit of insight then, a bit of introspection then, instead of months after you were exposed, after years of plagiarizing.
This fell upon Nick as well, as a non-binary person on the ace spectrum. They wanted to include asexuality and non-binary representation in our videos, but because Nick's experience is not universal, there is no universal experience. People felt that we were delegitimizing their own experiences because we focused on Nick's, and I apologize for that, and I'm sure that Nick does as well. I'd also like to extend a personal apology.
I apologize if you can hear
Jesse
everything.
Earl,
My mic
better
has no
known as
way
Jesse
to
Gender.
change the game.
Out of
on
everyone
it,
that
so
I
you'll
spoke
hear the
to
click of my mouse and keyboard and
who
stuff.
was also a YouTuber, Jesse was by far the kindest person. I think Jesse might be one of the kindest people I've ever met or ever encountered. We never actually met in person. Because of my hot-headedness, I drew her into just this anger spiral.
I have no idea what happened
that was
between him
unwarranted
and Jesse Gender, by the way. I don't know.
Absolutely ruined a possible friendship. Jessie was actually doing her best to kind of mitigate my frustration and everything and at that moment, and I just wasn't allowing her to do that, and I really, truly, honestly want to apologize to her for that. Again, if you ever get the chance to speak with Jessie one-on-one, or if you have gotten the chance, you'll know just how nice she is and how kind. And I was a real asshole for dragging her into my reactionary, unwarranted frustration. We haven't spoke since all of that happened. But Jessie, if you are watching this video, I do want you to know that I am honestly sorry for that. I hope, truly, honestly, I hope everything goes as well as possible for you, because you deserve all of it. There was a misunderstanding between Jessie and I after that happened that I do want to clear up, where someone who at least claimed to be a fan of Jessie's, did an internet and threatened to kill me, which is, being a person on the internet, death threats are unfortunately not uncommon. At the time, though,
yeah, don't send the dude
I was in a
threats.
very panicked state, and so I did report it to the police. I did not report Jessie to the police, which is the misunderstanding that people came away with. I did not report Jessie to the police. I would have no reason to do that. And it did end up that this person had a prior record with the police of violent acts, and but the YouTube algorithm kind of ignore everyone else in the community, whereas people were able to actually discover other queer creators on Twitter and then make their way to YouTube, but the YouTube algorithm
waffling about Jessie.
That's the most negative interpretation I have of it, which unfortunately may be true. In any case, I should have done more to share the voices of other queer people. Certainly the people whose works I used, both credited and plagiarized in my videos, but also just other creators on YouTube. It's important for us as a community, as vaguely defined as we are, to support each other. And I didn't do that nearly enough. From day one.
I can't help but feel that all of this is completely disingenuous and just meant to cover his ass. Didn't he release like a very brief apology video, like initially after H-Bomb's video was released, where he kind of just still didn't take responsibility for anything, you know? It's just kind of an instance of like, you should have had a little foresight. I don't know why he expected that this wouldn't be found out, at least eventually, even if it went on for a long time, nobody really noticed, you know? An apology is good, but, you know, we'll see.
I was very taken in by the idea of being a YouTuber. As soon as my videos started to get recommended by the algorithm, after not releasing a new video for like 2 years, I felt like I had a short period of time to get the next videos out as soon as possible, which is why so little work was put into the writing of them, and so much was taken from other places, plagiarized. Early on, I thought crediting authors in the opening credits alone was enough, especially since the videos weren't monetized early on.
Yeah, but he didn't even initially do that. He went back and added the credits to the authors. It wasn't even something that was an initial part of his videos. It was an afterthought, unfortunately. So, yeah.
But I understand now, especially after speaking with some of the people who I did plagiarize, that was just, I was wrong. That was not the way to go about it. They should have been cited properly within the text of the video. They should have been called out in the video at least once verbally, as well as, you know, having citations on screen if there were a whole lot of them, like with, you know, one of the examples that H Bomber Guy used in his video was the Deep Cuts video. There were a whole lot of people who I, you know, credited in the opening credits, but really it's plagiarism. They should have been cited on screen with actual citations
from the beginning,
you know,
instead
links
of just
where
being
you
an
can find
afterthought.
that stuff. Maybe there should have even been a bibliography that you could have gone to, like on a Google Drive or something like that. Because, you know, although I might have stated that the scripts were based upon the work of these authors, it, in many cases, wasn't just based on their work. It was their work, word for word. In some cases, I did get permission, like with the Evil Queens Disney video. I'll put the email up on the screen that I got from Sean Griffin, where he did give me permission to publish the video. I sent the finished video to him, and he watched it, and he gave me permission. But
didn't he get
in most
permission
cases,
after the video was released?
I didn't get permission, and thought that just putting the author's name in the opening credits was enough. I was much more interested in the production of the videos than the writing of them at this point. So after 3 or 4 videos, I brought Nick on as a main writer for the channel. The idea is that they would write the vast majority of the scripts. I would film, voice, and edit the videos, and we'd split the money that came in. We were roommates at the time, and Nick didn't have a job, so I figured it would help both of us. This is actually when we had some of our biggest videos, like the ones talking about Wiccan and Hulkling, where we lucked out because it came out right in time for WandaVision to hit. And then the Killing Stalking video, which became our biggest video by far. The Sadism of Class was another one. These videos weren't plagiarized, and we loved making them. It didn't take long for the channel income to start growing. Lucky timing, really, because this was around the same time that I was laid off, since the company that I was working for downsized once COVID hit its second year. Nick and I had both grown up poor, so we started doing what we could to try and stabilize our income as much as possible. This meant putting out more videos, which meant I had to take over more of the writing duties. But since filming, editing, usually doing multiple edits because of YouTube copyright issues, as well as managing the channel and dealing with my mom's recent cancer diagnosis, all of that was already taking up so much of my time and attention. This led to a lot of copy and pasting blocks of text into scripts. My intention at the time was to use these as a jumping off point once Nick and I sat down to edit the script, because that's what we would do. I would sort of put in my parts, Nick would put in his parts, and then we would sit down at a table, read through the whole script, and kind of try and make it seem cohesive. But, and here's something I'm sure a lot of people will call a bullshit excuse, I have memory issues because of a head injury from when I was a child. They're actually getting worse. I've talked about it on streams and in videos. So yes, it is real, but some people will call.
Okay, if that is true, that's pretty rough. I'm not gonna fucking follow him for that, obviously. If that's true, I mean, you know, that sucks. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're sitting down, if you're copying and pasting, you know, from other people's works for your video, and it takes until you're sitting down and looking at that script and to understand, well, I guess, I mean, he didn't even understand, you know, he just copy and pasted it and switched some words around to, you know, just fly under the radar barely, you know. It's pretty not great, you know. I think you should have realized that at the moment, but what do I know?
Bullshit excuse anyway. The head injury is actually what led to me having epilepsy, which is why I can't work in any job that involves physical labor. Employers can't get insurance for me to like lift things or operate vehicles and stuff like that. I actually did marketing for a restaurant group for a little while, but got let go when they found out that I was epileptic because, at least according to them, I couldn't be insured to be in the kitchens where I needed to be to film videos and take photos and stuff like that. But anyway, when it came to editing the scripts, I couldn't remember what I'd written and what had been copy-pasted. We should have just chucked out everything that I had put into the script and filled them in with wholly original thoughts. Or I should have been taking notes on where things came from so that we could at least cite them in the videos, if nothing else. But I never did that. According to my therapist, my not thinking to do that probably stems from my recently diagnosed ADHD, but I don't know if I'm willing to say that, really. Maybe it was, or maybe it was just plain laziness. Maybe I thought that this was somewhere that I could cut a corner because I was torn in so many other directions. Honestly, I can't remember, like I said. Memory issues. But yes, we should have just thrown out my contributions to the scripts and filled them in with original writing.
Yeah.
But we felt like we had too much of a time crunch. We felt like we had to get videos out more often to feed the algorithm.
Now, I have never made a YouTube video. I've never created a content schedule. I'm entirely new to all of this. This is only my second stream, technically like fifth because I fucking had to keep taking them down to fix problems. But I do plan on doing a YouTube content or creating YouTube content and stuff like that in the future. So I can sympathize with like time crunches, you know. You when you're under that kind of pressure, you just want to get the product out so that way you can get it out of the way and move on to other things. You know, that way you're not being crushed by the stress, but at the same time, you know, I think even under that those circumstances, you need to be careful of what it is you're putting together, and you make sure that, you know, it's representative of what you have to say and what you want to do instead of, you know, being another person's words and works.
And then my mom died, and I became completely useless. I couldn't think straight at all. So Nick had to completely take over writing duties while I dealt with things you deal with after a person dies. My dad, you see, he can't read or write. He was very poor when he was a kid. So he had to leave school really young to work in order to feed his many brothers and sisters. So I had to deal with all the legal stuff after my mom died, as well as making sure that all my dad's bills were paid and whatnot, especially after his income was basically cut in half. There was supposed to be a buffer here, money-wise, as my mom had a life insurance policy that was going to be split between my dad and myself. But the insurance company, RBC Insurance, so if you have insurance with them, maybe rethink that, refused to pay out the policy because my mother never mentioned that she had family with diabetes. She didn't have diabetes, but because she didn't think to mention that she had family with diabetes, it apparently voided the policy. All they did was refund a year's worth of premiums that she'd paid, even though she'd been paying them for about 15 years. One of the things, the main thing, really, that I was supposed to do with my portion of the insurance money was I was supposed to make a movie. These were direct instructions from my mom herself. She'd been very much behind me when I decided, when I was about 10, that I wanted to be a filmmaker. And she wanted me to finally have the opportunity to do that, even if she never got to see it. So when the life insurance went bust, I decided to try and crowdfund it. At least enough to make a short film or two.
Isn't this referencing like when he announced a bunch of movies that he never
So what happened with Telos?
Followed through on?
Let me break down the timeline. When we launched the campaign in February of 2022, we hoped to raise $3,000 to produce a short film that we hoped that we would then use as a sort of proof of concept to attract investors, either private, public, or through Canada's telefilm program, to produce a feature. Some people online have stated that $3,000 never would have come.
Okay, so like, I know that a lot of people's concerns was about the movies. There was crowdfunding, from what I understand. You know, the movies never came out, so the money was basically, you know, going into a fire pit. But wasn't, like, I can't help but feel like the entire main concern of everything was the fact that he was plagiarizing people's content. And it seems like you know, there are some personal reasons which informed his decisions, of course, as he's going over. But at the same time, like, you know, that's, I can't help but feel it's like a tangent a little bit. I don't know. It's just, it seems like he's getting, at the moment, you know, it could change in the future, but it seems like he's getting away from the plagiarism thing a little much, you know.
Covered the cost of a short film, but these were not going to be unionized movies, and we were very clear about that up front. We wanted to be able to pay actors as best that we could, but we never expected to be able to reach typical union wages. The crew was going to be made up of people that I had gone to film school with. Everyone, including Nick and myself, we were roommates at the time living on the East Coast, were more than happy to work behind the scenes for free. We planned on writing a movie with a small cast and only 1 or 2 locations, ideally ones that we could get access to for free. Again, we assumed all of the money would go to the actors. We kind of looked at this as a sort of community theater troupe, but for filmmaking. After the campaign launched, it did infinitely better than we could have expected, and our ambitions grew. We started planning to make a feature instead of a short film, and the plan was to take this around to film festivals. The feature we settled on, entitled Final Girl, was about the lone survivor of a slasher movie type massacre 10 years after the fact, as she was publishing a book about her ordeal, drawing attention from people online convinced that she had actually been the killer all along. In the end, we would find out that the killer was the boyfriend of the girl who the main character had secretly been dating at the time of the killing.
I don't care about any of this.
And most of the people he killed were, in his eyes, collateral damage as he made his way to our main character.
I don't care. I don't want to hear about the movie.
That his girlfriend
the plot
was
of the
cheating
movie
on him with a girl.
It's irrelevant.
And to those who say that I plagiarized the plot from the novel Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix, read the book. It's nothing like the plot of the movie. And the final girl is a trope in horror movies. So if using the final girl trope is plagiarism, then basically everyone who's made a slasher movie since Texas Chainsaw Massacre owes the Tobe Hooper estate some money. But
that's a bit of a weak defense, I feel like. There's a difference between using a trope, because, yeah, tropes are obviously common. They're tropes. People use them all the time. I feel like I've never read the book, obviously, so I can't say how closely related, you know, this proposed plot for his movie was. But, you know, the fact that something might be a trope is not an excuse to deflect away from accusations of plagiarism. You need to be a bit more substantive, you need to substantiate your defense a little bit more than that. Like, yeah, I can't, I can't help but feel like he's not really doing that. It feels like his deflection of go read the book is very similar to deflections he's had in the past when accused of plagiarism.
Anyway, Nick and I planned out the movie, but I didn't want to start writing it until the campaign ended and the money was actually deposited. After the insurance debacle, I didn't want to count our chickens before they hatched. When the money was officially deposited, I immediately began work on the screenplay. I finished it that summer, soon after Nick had left to spend 2 months at home in Ottawa, Ontario with family. I sent the script to him to read right away because I was very proud of it, but Nick didn't want to share his opinion on it until he got back to the East Coast. So in the meantime, I put out a preliminary casting call on local job boards. When Nick got back, he
Hello, single viewer.
believed that the script
Thank you for watching.
needed a page 1 rework.
Going over the James
This is also when he
Somerton,
told me that he'd be moving back to
apology
Ontario
video.
permanently soon, as he wanted to live closer to family and live in a bigger city with more opportunities. This was a punch to the gut for me. We had been living together since 2015 and had become quite dependent on each other. I felt like there was no way that I could make this movie without him. And since I had received...
It's just hard. It
not
seems
that
like
many
he's not really
replies
talking about the things he's
to
been
the
accused
initial
of.
casting call, I took this as a sign that Ontario would be a better place to launch Telos, even though all my professional film connections were on the East Coast. That was a mistake. There, I had free access to the campground that would serve as the setting for a good portion of the movie, as well as easy access.
Okay, I don't know
to any
why
number
he's
of
talking about
houses,
these movies.
apartments,
I'm
and
sorry,
even
they're not
offices
the
that
important part of what he was
friends
accused
would
of.
let me use to shoot. In Ontario, locations, food, costumes, as well as the equipment that we'd already purchased and the legal costs of setting up Telos as a business, we realized that we'd gone way too big with this movie. The movie had too many characters and too many locations, and it was just...
Okay, I know that H Bomber Guy's video briefly, at least in comparison to other things, went over the movies that James Somerton had forwarded or proposed. But I feel like that's the much smaller portion of what he was accused of, what the video was about. I can't, I feel like the main body of that was the plagiarism of people's works, which, I'm just going to say you can't really plagiarize, a movie if you don't even release a movie. You know what I'm saying?
It was way too complex.
I just don't feel
to
like
be able to pull off with the
movies
budget.
matter
So I
as
started
much.
working on a script for a movie called The Listener, about a true crime podcaster focused on the mysterious deaths of homeless gay men in his city. I was a fair way into the script when we realized it'd be about a year before we could even film anything, since winter was on its way and the story relied heavily on a summer setting. So we went back to the drawing board yet again, finally settling on a modern-day adaptation of The Vampire, based on the book by John Polidori. It's one of the original works of published vampire
based on
fiction.
the book.
It's never received
dangerous
a
words
proper
from
film
James Somerton.
adaptation and was in public domain, so we thought it would be a great choice. And the cast could be kept down to basically 5
public
characters,
domain, then.
with only 2 of them being on screen most of the time. Nick and I both wrote treatments for it, which we planned on melding together into a final treatment that we would write the script based off of. We'd had a meeting about it, and we were talking about how best to move forward, how fast we could get the script written, how long it would take to cast, how soon we could start shooting. We knew that it had been a while since the initial funding of Telos came in, and we wanted to get something concrete out as soon as possible. After the meeting, we went to dinner, and while at dinner, I started getting messages about the H Bomber Guy video. We were in over our heads once we left the East Coast, but the intention was never, ever, to take the money and run. I was so insanely excited about getting to make Telos a reality. I was excited about getting to make a short film, let alone a feature. It's always been my dream to make movies, so Telos meant, and means, the world to me. For Nick, it was a very exciting.
Okay, I just want to say, in regards to the movies, I feel like if he was really this dedicated to it, I'm not saying his intention was to take the money and run, but I do want to say that, you know, in regards to like the production and of these movies that he seems to be so passionate about, I can't help but feel like he should have been communicating with his community on this kind of thing originally, to keep people up to date so things aren't kept in the shadows, so we don't end up in a situation like this where he's having to explain everything after the fact when the well's already been fairly poisoned by his own, not his own stupidity, but his own negligence.
Project, but not his passion. Nick wanted to write novels. He still does. Nick looked at this as a good creative outlet that was way more fulfilling than writing video essays. I should have stayed where I was and not gone to Ontario. The move uprooted everything that was solid about Telos, and it took
Hello,
a whole
single
year
viewer. Thank you for
to
tuning in.
get it back onto even anything close
We're going
to
over
stable
the
footing.
James Somerton
But
apology video, as you can see.
I am working with a producer now.
Hope you stick around if you do.
So you can expect an actual product from Telos this year.
Going to
It will
be
likely
going
be a
over some
short
next
film
Benedict
to start
stuff
off,
a little later after this,
but
and
there
then
is
after that,
going
we're
to be
gonna just
something
play
coming
some
out of
Valheim and
Telos this
chill.
year. I know I've lost your trust, but I will make nothing financially from this project. The money that is there will go wholly to paying queer artists to work on a queer film. I am not, nor have I ever intended to be, one of the people paid by Telos. Neither was Nick. We made this very clear to everyone who asked. During our work on Telos is also when the YouTube channel started getting sponsors.
He keeps talking about
Putting
Telos.
more stress on Nick.
I'm sorry.
As you can imagine. Many from people who were rightfully let down. Some from people threatening everything from doxing to violence.
Don't do that.
Some with the kindest words of support I've ever heard, and others simply asking why I made it so difficult to contact me and if I was okay. They wanted to know why, as they put it, I nuked my social media presence.
Okay, I want to... He didn't really touch on the plagiarism thing. It's very brief.
Because I didn't want to exist anymore.
Okay.
If you watched my honestly horrendous apology video back in December.
Yeah, he did release one. Okay, I was right.
You know I tried to make that happen. The not existing thing. But it was more intense than taking too many pills. It's not that I didn't want to be alive anymore. It's that I wished I'd never existed at all. That everyone I'd ever known would be better off had I just never been there. Very George Bailey, which is fitting, given that it was Christmas time. It's only thanks to some very, very dedicated doctors and nurses and one very good friend that I'm even here able to film this right now. I'm not going to name her because I live again on the channel. These ones don't come from plagiarized content, and for the most part are written entirely by Nick. Nick lost 3 years worth of work when everything on the channel was taken. Nick would write a video essay and just... We weren't trying to lie about things, despite what a lot of people think. We were not trying to spread misinformation. That was not ever our intention.
Oh, also to the one viewer, look at my dog. His name's Ketchup. He's very soft.
As for my Patreon, everyone can stop worrying about me relaunching it right in time for a billing cycle. That will not be happening. I don't want anyone who either doesn't know about the plagiarism or simply forgot to unsubscribe to get billed. So I'm going to start from zero. I have put together a new Patreon account. So if you want to support my documentaries about gay history, fantastic. Honestly, your faith in me after everything means the world to me. If not, I completely understand. Like I said, I've lost your trust. I'm going to work my getting sick and then dying and trying to make sure that my dad was okay following that and everything. Those aren't excuses. There is no excuse for what I did. There are lots of people who make videos on YouTube. There are lots of people who make podcasts, TV shows, movies, documentaries.
I'll tell him you said hi.
Who
Someone says,
have
an internet stranger says hi, Coach.
shit going on in their lives that's very stressful.
Thank you.
And they don't plagiarize people's work. There is no excuse for what I did. For everything that happened, whether it be with my mom or the memory issues, there was something I could have done to mitigate that. There's nothing I could have done about my mom getting cancer. But knowing my patrons as I did, in hindsight, I'm pretty damn sure that if I had said, guys, I need to step away for a couple of months to deal with this, I don't think a whole lot of people would have fled the Patreon. A part of me thought they would at the time because I catastrophize, but I really don't think that would have happened.
Okay, I'm sorry to skip through this. We're reaching
observation.
the end.
I want to read more from this person. Hard research that they had done. Really cited and not just, copy pasted from a book. I should know about. Obviously, people can research him. There's books about him. But I know, it's easier to sit down and watch a 20 or 30 minute YouTube video than it is to read a book. I would like to make a video about Vito Russo.
Okay, we'll skip ahead, let it finish
Everyone
out.
I've hurt.
Summarize my
Sorry to
thoughts on
people who
everything.
feel lied to. Sorry to people who feel like I abused the queer community. It was never my intention. Again, I'm sorry to Jesse. There were actually several other YouTubers who were very nice to me. But I feel like with everything that went down, Jesse
second viewer, look at me blowing up. Second viewer, I have a dog. He's right there. His name is Ketchup. Say hi to Ketchup if you want.
Who thought that Telos was
He's a very nice condiment.
It was not. It is not. I am very sorry. And I hope, given time, and my actions proving it, that you can believe me.
Also, apologies if you hear my keyboard click clack and my mouse click. My microphone has no gain control. Love it. Okay, so that was his apology video. Overall, I don't have a strong investment in James Somerton, to be honest. I'm just more here to kind of indulge in the drama, so to speak. I did watch his videos for a little while, on and off. They were okay. Obviously, the ones I saw were as a result of his plagiarisms. I think that the apology video isn't, atrocious. He didn't really... Personally, I don't think he addressed it to my satisfaction. I don't think that he was ever, super, super malicious. I don't think that was ever his intention. I do think he had some genuine conflicts in life that were going on that informed a lot of his decisions. Circumstances, they contribute to what we choose to do in our lives. But at the same time, I think that he's kind of dug the hole a little deep at this point. I'm not saying that he should just give up, but at least it seems like he is acknowledging his faults. I hope he does better going in the future. I have no personal vendetta against this guy. I said towards the beginning of the stream that I don't like what he was doing in terms of erasure of queer authors and queer creators. Especially as a member of the LGBTQ community, or at least someone that considers themselves one. But people can change. I hope going into the future he does well and does better. So yeah, that was that. So the next thing that I want to go over is some next Benedict stuff. So okay. Yeah, no, you're... Why? I'm sorry about the Streamlabs thing. I need to... hey, I'm new, so I'm still figuring it out. No, but you have a good point. He has taken some of the criticism he's faced. It seems like he's genuinely taken that to heart. But given his history, we'll see how long it stays, you know. This isn't what people are going to be wanting. This isn't what people were expecting, to say the least. And, yeah, like I said, I really hope that going into the future he does do better. And I hope that he sticks to his conviction to try and do better. If you have anything interesting, by the way, or you think would be fun to go over, feel free to link it or just mention it. But from there, we're going to go ahead and talk about the next Benedict stuff. Now, as I'm sure you heard about, there was a non-binary student, I think it was in Oklahoma, who was recently killed. They were... From what I understand, they had some people that were bullying them for a while. There was some sort of altercation in a bathroom. They ended up suffering some sort of injuries, which later led to their death. I can't help but feel it was a hate crime. From what I understand, there was also a history of some sort of bigotry within the school. But I don't really want to, Nex's death was tragic. Obviously, I feel like they were targeted, but that's not really what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about, misclick again. I am so good at those. Is kind of like the more adjacent elements. One thing that I saw in particular was the senators, I think it was. I can't remember what it was specifically. Of the... let me see if I can find it real quick. But it was the senator basically saying we don't want that filth in our state, referring to transgender people or LGBTQ people broadly. Which, that's pretty fucking horrifying. Like, that's a bit of an understatement, Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. It was on Twitter that I saw it, so here, let's see. I also heard that there was a vigil recently for Nex, so I hope the people that are there for that, have a safe and peaceful time honoring Nex's memory. It's kind of an understatement to say that the kind of climate we're in regards to LGBTQ people and how they're being treated. Oh, I think I found it. Hold on one second, guys. Yep. Okay, this is it. I found it. Let me... So... there was a some sort of meeting held shortly after this took place. Let's see. Yeah, so it was State Senator Tom Woods. Yeah. This was their response, and I just want to quickly go over the clip here. Because it's pretty harrowing, to be honest. Died after being... Also, please let me know if I need to adjust the audio for anything or if it's not coming through. I was having troubles with Streamlabs earlier, so... Being beaten in Owasso High School. What do you think of that? They were targeted because of some of these bills and some of the things that Ron Walters has said.
That wasn't true. No, that's not true.
That's horrible. That is horrible that anybody is beaten up and died. That is. I don't know about that case, but I promise you I will check into it. I'm being told time's up.
Live mic. So my time's up, but I want to say one thing as an educator. As an educator, I took the oath to educate students, not indoctrinate them. And I'll always take that stand. We're there to educate our students, love them, nurture, and help them to be successful.
My heart goes out to that scenario if that is the case. But we represent a constituency We're a Republican state, supermajority in the House and Senate. I represent a constituency that doesn't want that filth in Oklahoma. You know, we are a religious state. We are going to fight to keep that filth out of the state of Oklahoma because we're a Christian state. We're a moral state. We want lower taxes. We want people to be able to live and work and go to the faith they choose. We are a Republican state. I'm going to vote my district. I'm going to vote my values, and we don't want that in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay. So that, you probably saw that on Twitter. It's been circulating. It's pretty gross, but it's not unexpected. This is just kind of the general attitude Republicans and conservatives have in general. It's funny that he wants to sit there and he wants to... the fact that it got an applause is pretty disgusting. He wants to... It's funny that he says, his heart goes out to it, and he wants to disingenuously, act like it's some sort of tragedy, which it is. It is a tragedy, obviously. But yeah, it's just, this was one of the things that I wanted to go over. It's just, it's scary, to see that these are official representatives within the state, just openly admitting, calling Nex Benedict, people like Nex, filth. But at least they're being honest, I guess, at least they're not, trying to cover themselves up, with some sort of, kind of was like, yeah, but yeah, at least they're being honest about it. We saw something very similar with Brianna J. I hope I'm saying her name right. Recently, with the the student who was stabbed to death in broad daylight in a park in the UK by her classmates. Also disgusting, but these people wouldn't denounce that either. There's not much really to say. It's pretty blatant. I just kind of wanted to briefly look over that. I also saw that there was a video going around of like an officer talking to Nex in the hospital. From what I remember of the video, it was just the officer kind of asking what happened that preempted the attack by against Nex. I guess Nex had there's just the cop kind of talking to them after the incident. It seems like Nex had poured some water on them, and that's kind of what really instigated it. But I want to, fucking hot take here. I feel like having water dumped on you is not a good enough excuse to start beating someone near to death. Also, people need to understand that, I guess, a huge kind of talking point from the right is that Nex was allegedly beaten to death in the bathroom. Nex died the day after. The right wing's kind of spinning this, trying to find, kind of like what they did with like George Floyd and every other incident like this. They're trying to spin it to mitigate it, find some way that it wasn't a hate crime, find some way that it wasn't an attack inspired by Nex's identity as a non-binary person. So, just be careful out there, just watch yourself, watch out for the people around you. When you have, people in these situations, it's very difficult for them to find support. So give what you can where you can. Yes, exactly. It is semantics. They'll, spin the story however they need in order to, continue their narrative and spew their rhetoric. Let's see, I'm just gonna go over this real quick, scroll through this. Yeah, it's just kind of sad, and I hope we, recently we have been seeing a lot more attacks like this, and we kind of, yeah, it's just scary, it's worrying, There was another thing that I've been seeing a lot lately, the guy who lit himself on fire in protest against the Palestinian genocide. I don't know a lot about the situation. It happened recently, so I've just seen the things on Twitter. I think it's very iconic. You've probably seen the picture of the police officer literally just pointing his gun at the guy who was burning to death the entire time as the other two people are trying their damnedest to save this guy. His name was, I think it was Aaron, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, it was pretty intense to see. I don't think we're going to see anything from it, unfortunately. Yeah. It does sum up, the United States. I don't think it's going to really do anything, unfortunately. I mean, it's a strong message. I wish we hadn't reached the point where he felt he needed to do that, but, I hope it does reach some people and kind of make them take a more considerate approach towards what's going on here. To clarify, I agree with the guy. There is a genocide going on in Palestine right now. Israel is obviously eradicating them, taking every opportunity to do so, which we need to oppose, we need to be able to stand up against genocide, regardless of where it is, or who it's happening to. There's also I went over it yesterday. I watched the Shia Rashik interview. It's really funny. I've been seeing a lot of people clowning on her on Twitter since then. She kind of just made herself look like a clown. She looked silly. She made herself look silly. She wasn't able to defend any of her positions, if you can call them positions, more like just talking points. She is a right-wing political pundit. She pushes their narrative. She pushes their agenda. That's her job, and she doesn't need to think about any of the things she's saying. The only thing she really needs to do is to collect a paycheck and keep her community frothing at the mouth, with moral outrage. So, that really covers what I was going to do here in regards to, political stuff. If there's anything else... Oh, I heard that Donald Trump was recently ordered to pay, almost $400 million. I don't think it's a settlement or whatever, but I heard he was ordered to pay that, and that there's some crazy interest that accrues every day. I know it won't happen, but in my heart of hearts, I would love to see him fucking get bankrupt by that. It would just be, it would be satisfying. Yeah, it's just, it's a crazy world right now, to say the least, I'm not familiar with Twitter. I actually only recently installed Twitter maybe a few weeks ago. And I've been kind of getting the feel of things, and, it's not a great feeling. Twitter kind of just sucks, but, I mean, I think we all know that. Well, anything else that I guess the two people here would like to see me go over before I switch over to Valheim? To just kind of chill for a little while. If you decide to tune out, I appreciate you stopping by and watching. You know, as dark and as scary things are right now, I am enjoying going over it. It's new for me. You know, I'm trying to get into the streaming atmosphere, make more of a career out of it. Is aspirational as that is, you know. I think it's fun. I think it's a good time, you know. Let's see. Yeah, it's just stay safe out there, everybody. All right, let's get Valheim pulled up. If you do choose to stick around, please let me know if Valheim's a little too loud. It tends to be, even for me. Alright. Trying to get some wolves tamed. If you've never seen Valheim before, it's a survival game, Viking themed. Currently, I am in the mountains biome. We're getting towards that. Okay, thank you. But we're in the mountains biome right now. Waiting to defeat the boss. Currently, just working on building a base to tame some wolves, and then probably going to run into the next area to try and pick up some resources there. But, yeah. I'm going to try and do usually some sort of like cover some brief political stuff normally before some streams and then go into some gaming. I feel like that's going to be a good rhythm. Grab some blueberries. I spent a lot of time in this world just fucking building up stuff. I built this initially as like a spawn trapper because there was like a little spawn thingy in there, and then enemies spawning from it broke it, and now I converted it into a wolf thing. I don't know if you can name things. I want to name my wolf Ketchup after my dog, who's passed out right now. He is tired. But yeah, just dipping my toes into this streaming thing has been very interesting and fun so far. Trying to, you know, spread my name, what I do. I don't have any... I'm nervous about this stuff. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope that I can, you know, be entertaining enough for you guys to stick around. Yeah. Another thing that I thought was very funny was the clip going around Twitter. You know, we had the IVF ruling recently for Alabama, I think it was, where they said that frozen embryos are considered a person and therefore... No, it's not the easiest career to try and launch, but, you know, not to be dramatic, but normal, traditional work kind of fucking sucks. I don't like it. I've worked fast food, I've worked retail, I've worked... hospitality. I've worked a lot of different like customer service jobs, and I know that there are careers that I could pursue outside of, you know, something like streaming that would still pay me well, but they're just not satisfying. I don't find them fun. I don't find them fulfilling. you know, and that kind of work sucks. I personally didn't go to college, so I don't have like a degree or anything that I can use to get into like engineering or whatever. Not because I don't like college. I'm just not the best with school, or at least I wasn't. But I just don't find them fulfilling. It's, you know, if you've ever worked in fast food or customer service in general, you'll know that it fucking sucks. People are really, really mean, and inconsiderate. You don't get paid well. The conditions are usually not the best. So, I'm kind of trying to spread my wings a little bit, see, you know, test the water, see what I like. My ultimate goal, you know, like I said, I do want to eventually make streaming my career, but not just streaming. I do, I need to be better about it, but I am learning to do art a bit more, you know, digital art. I want to eventually, you know, create a webcomic or something adjacent to it. I think that would be fun, you know. I think that would be the most fulfilling thing I can do. I've always wanted to write a novel, and as I've grown, or since I was a, you know, kid, I wanted to write a novel, and as I've grown and my skills with, you know, like art and stuff have developed, I've wanted to integrate them a bit more. I think my biggest inspiration for wanting to do something like that was probably the Kill 6 Billion Demons webcomic, which if you haven't read, you should absolutely read. Fantastic art, fantastic story writing, characters, so on and so forth. But yeah, like I said, I don't find traditional jobs fulfilling. I'm sure a lot of people don't, you know. You only live so long. Even if this doesn't turn into a big career, at least I'm having fun doing it. You know, and I also won't pretend. I am nervous, you know. I know content creators get into a lot of guff. I know that there's a lot of, you know, a lot of drama out there, a lot of contention, but, you know, I feel like it'll be worth it. We'll see, you know, further on down the line what happens. Yeah, exactly. You do gotta do what you enjoy, you know? There's no point in doing something if you're not gonna enjoy it. You're just kind of selling yourself out at that point, which, you know. And I don't know. I just, yeah. I'm gonna try and do some other games too, obviously. Another one that, you know, probably gonna be a returning one is gonna be Warframe. I don't know how you feel about Warframe, but Warframe's fun. I put a lot of hours into it. I think like 1,200 actual in-game hours, 1,600 like Steam hours. I'm a gamer, so I like to waste my time on the computer. But Warframe's the kind of game that you can easily pick up, put down. You know, it doesn't really go anywhere. A game that I really wish was a little more pick up, put down is Final Fantasy 14, because that shit's fun. Well, seeing as you're my only viewer, how are you doing today? How are you? You doing good? Life doing okay? Hey, that's just how it is sometimes. I don't... You know, I am a gamer, but I also... Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. I watch people play games too, you know. Oh, I did rest. My partner's kind of the same way. They don't really... they like to play video games every now and then, but that's not really their deal. Well, I guess what do you like to do in your free time? You movie person? Yeah, god damn it. kind of a movie person? You read books? What do you like to do? If you're comfortable with saying. Big film buff. That's cool. What kind of movies are your particular interest? Well, you like reading and writing as well, so I guess what are your favorite genres in terms of media? I personally really like, I have a weak spot for fantasy. I know it's overdone, but... Oh, nice. Science fiction? I like science fiction a lot. History, I have to be in a mood for, to be honest. Well, I guess in terms of reading, I have to... Well, historical films I'm much more into than like, historical writing. But science fiction, generally I like. Fantasy's pretty fun, although I understand it's pretty pervasive. You said you like writing. Are you currently working on anything? Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's a lot of work to kind of put together the preliminary steps, and even if you do have a bit of like steam behind you, it can be it's stressful, you know. Especially with like personally, I struggle a little bit with sharing my ideas with people. I'm not like I don't mind criticism. I feel like people will think of it just kind of lame, but maybe that's just a fear writers have in general. But I'm glad that you got that going for you, you know. Definitely don't give up on it. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. I definitely isn't gonna happen overnight. It's something that definitely have to come to terms with. Yeah. 7,500 words isn't bad, though. I mean, if you don't mind sharing, what's kind of like, I guess what are you kind of trying to go for? What genre are you shooting for? I mean, if it's, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it's science fiction or history, given your preferences. It's especially it's especially a struggle the longer it takes to, like, I guess, get around to, well, I guess as time goes on, the more you work on it, it can be a little difficult too, because things will shift and change. And that can definitely add to the workload, make it more difficult to focus on one thing and continue on. At least that's kind of an issue I've suffered. My idea for a novel has gone through so many iterations over the years, because I initially started the ideas when I was in middle school, and as you can imagine, you know, middle schoolers aren't the best at writing or even conceiving of like narratives or themes and stuff. So, you know, it's kind of hard to let go of those ideas though, because they're so they've stuck with me for so long that it's just hard to kind of let them be, you know. I see we have a second viewer. Thank you for tuning into the stream. Welcome. Just doing some Valheim stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah, is this, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, that's another thing. You know, with my novel, I'm trying to affect some real world allegories as well, but like, goddamn, you know, I kind of, sometimes you have to look at it and be like, do I really want this to be so one-to-one, I guess, considering how things are, you know, especially, it's just hard to write that kind of thing when you're dealing with it in real life a lot of the time. It's not something you want to think about regularly. But I don't think you should give up. Don't be discouraged, you know. Despite how dark things get, the worst thing you could do is give up, in my opinion, you know. Like I was saying, we don't have long to live. We gotta seize on the things that make us happy when we can, you know. Well, said you're a film buff. What's your favorite movie? If you can even narrow it down to that. Personally, I'm not a film buff, but if I had to say my favorite movie was Alita Battle Angel, I don't know if you've seen it. I very much love Alita Battle Angel. I'm a degenerate anime watcher, and Alita Battle Angel is very... I know it had an anime adaptation originally, based on the novel, but, you know, the Alita... I mean, that's fair. It's, you know, if you ask me what my favorite... Well, I mean, it's personal preference, but... Have you seen, Interstellar? I liked Interstellar a lot. Very good film. Oh! Oops. Keyed over to the wrong thing. It is. I was very confused by it at first. I'm sure a lot of people were. I thought the pacing was a little weird at the beginning, but yeah. Yeah. Whoops. Whoopsies. Hey, scuffed is how I do, okay? You're here for the highest quality stream. Yeah, Interstellar was really good. Me and my partner recently watched Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, I know. Very behind on that one. After years and years of seeing the memes, I decided it was finally time. I really liked that film. Have you seen Blade Runner 2049? I want to watch the original one because I know that the 2049 one is a continuation, as far as I can see. Oh. Was the original good, though? I usually don't watch older movies, because I'm a fucking snob about, film. No, I'm just kidding. I just don't watch them because I don't really, have, like, any nostalgia or connection to them, but... Is it good? I hope so. Has Henry Ford in it. Or not Henry Ford, oh my god. That is not who that is. Unless that is who it is. I don't remember his name now. Fucking the doubt has taken over. Harrison Ford, thank you. God. It's too close. They both start with H, so, you know, it just makes my pea brain misfire. Yeah, just, I'm kind of weird. Sometimes, it really depends on the film, but, like, with older films, sometimes I'll find the, like, grainy quality of it a bit abrasive. Which, you know, it's a product of the time. It's not really something that they could work around, but... I have the same issue with, like, older video games. Like Final Fantasy VII, for example. The original one. I know you said you're not familiar, or you don't really play video games, but... It's very, like, polygonal and, like, low quality, and I just find it kind of abrasive to the eyes, so I haven't really looked into it. Although the remake looks really, really fun. Looks really good. Fucking doig. Put him in a jail. Naughty wolves go in the pen. Come on, Mr. Wolf. I like Harrison Ford a lot. I don't really keep up with, like, celebrities or anything like that, but I've always liked Harrison Ford. Call it a soft spot from when he was Han Solo, but I think he's a pretty good actor. Excuse me, Mr. Wolf. Excuse me. Oh god, I'm getting destroyed here. There we go. You know, I love Star Wars. I'm so sad that Disney acquired them and ran Star Wars into the ground. I've always loved Star Wars. Ever since I was a kid, I played, like, the Knights of the Old Republic games. I watched all the movies. You know, I have a hot take. You know, a lot of people shit on I think they're the prequels, the movies with Anakin and Obi-Wan. A lot of people shit on them. I actually like them. I like them Maybe I'm biased because childhood, but I honestly don't think they're as bad as people say they are. If we're gonna talk about Star Wars movies to hate, okay, I don't want to sound like I'm from straight out of 2016 or anything, but the last 3 Star Wars movies were not good, in my opinion. I think they squashed. I think they really kind of just ruined any potential they had when they. Oh God, I don't want to rehash this, but like, they just shafted my man Flynn, and then my man Kylo. He had this huge like setup for a redemption story. I thought he would be the main character, or at least I think he should have been the main character. But yeah, it's just. I want to talk about Star Wars movies to hate. Those are the ones. I also saw like some clips out of like the. Actually, I didn't see clips. My partner was watching the Mandalorian show, which overall is pretty good. I think. Oh God damn it! I really need to change that. Yeah. The original 6 are pretty good. You know, obviously between the different eras in which they released, there's varying quality, but I think they're all generally pretty solid. They really choked. They really choked on the last 3. You know, the first movie of the most recent trilogy wasn't even like particularly offensive or like bad. I think maybe it was a little, I don't know, boring or just generic, but it wasn't like awful. I wouldn't sit here and you know, spend all day shitting on it. It was the second and third ones that really just blew the ship out of the water with that one. You know, Disney has just been completely demolishing Star Wars ever since they acquired it. One of my biggest gripes, personally, with just the more recent Star Wars properties is, like, the fights, man. The fights are just... Yeah, exactly. You know, looking back, there's a lot of issues with it, but I don't think it's... I don't think it's on the same level of egregious as the last 2. But the fights are just, they're so stiff. They're so... If you watch, like, the Star Wars, like, animated series, or you watch, there's the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, they have, like, different cinematic trailers and stuff. The thing that bugged me the most was, like, the fights, the lightsaber fights. Yeah, they're clunky. Jedi and Sith are supposed to be... I can understand, like, fights between, like, troopers and just kind of, like, rebel fighters or whatever being a little bit clunky because they're not Jedis or Sith. But the fights between Jedi and Sith should be flashy. They should be fast. They should be... they should be crazy. And they aren't just about everything else that... Disney hasn't produced in regards to Star Wars. You know, you watch those videos and you see Jedi flipping around, you see Sith flipping around. You know, you got these in the original Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic cinematic opening. You had a Jedi Master using a double-bladed lightsaber and a single-bladed lightsaber at the same time, fighting off 2 Sith Masters. It was like. That shit was so dynamic and, like, it flowed so well and was so fast-paced. It was impressive. It was fun to watch. But you go and you watch, like, Ahsoka, or you see the fight between, like, Kylo and Rey, and it's just... In my opinion, I think Kylo's fighting style lends it a little more to, like stiffer, heavier, slower attacks. But I still think it's inexcusable how slow-paced and clunky they are. You know, and then, yeah, they did my man Kylo Ren dirty. You know, I think he had a pretty intriguing story. He was, you know, he had a lot of expectation heaped on him as the son of Han Solo and Leia. He was, you know, a powerful Force user as a result of his heritage. You know, his connections to Luke and Anakin made him extremely compelling and important. I think it made more sense for the story to be focused on him than it was on Rey. And I'm not, again, I don't want to sound like I'm coming from 2016 or anything. I personally don't think Rey was a very interesting character. I just don't. She's just not for me. I know that there are people that like her, and that's fine. But I think she's just kind of flat in comparison to the characters around her. I don't think she really did anything to... I mean, I've seen comparisons where it's like Luke's story versus Rey's story, and like, you know, because people called her Mary Sue, and so people were saying that, you know, Luke was similarly a Mary Sue. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but yeah, I felt Rey was a little flat. Especially after the Skywalker twist. I thought, you know, that kind of pissed me off a little bit. I didn't think it was necessary to have that, really. You know, I think Rey should have been able to stand on her own. Her heritage comes from Palpatine. I think that should have been highlighted a lot more. I think that should have been much more of a struggle or internal conflict for Rey than it was. You know, Rey was very much unbothered by something which is frankly far more disturbing in regards to canon than anything that, like, because Kylo Ren, yeah, he turned to the dark side, which was, you know, in universe not great, but like, think of the reputation that like the Skywalkers and Kylo's family has in comparison to like the Palpatine family history. Like, Palpatine is a monster. He's always been a monster, you know? He's been, you know, manipulating the Republic, sowing discord and tyranny and oppression, you know, literally across the galaxy for who knows how long. And just Rey just gets over it so fucking quick. It doesn't, it's sad, it's boring, you know? Kylo Ren's struggle spans the entirety of the trilogy. But Rey's proposed internal struggle is resolved in the third movie. It's so fast, so quick. It doesn't really have impact. God, I'm sorry. I could rant about it all day, but I don't want to do that to you. Okay, what your favorite movie is a hard question, but do you have a least favorite movie? What movie have you had the worst time watching? Yeah, exactly. She literally had like no connection to... Wasn't the... Okay. The connection between Rey as a Palpatine and taking up the Skywalker name is just very, like, tenuous at best. Because the Skywalkers and the Palpatines are related in regards to, like, obviously they fought, obviously, you know, Darth Vader was Palpatine's apprentice, so on and so forth, but it's just it's not really a connection there. Her you know, she dealt with Kylo Ren. She was also the thing at the end where like Kylo and Rey were like part of like two halves of a whole Force entity, and that's what makes them particularly powerful. Was like, again, like the connection's just tenuous. It was just kind of silly. It was a bit flimsy. Gotta wait for these damn wolves to tame. Yeah, I don't know if I could say what my least favorite movie was, honestly. I watched, you know what? A strong contender? The Sonic movie that came out. It was just kind of bad. Yeah, it was really out of nowhere. It also, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a message there. There could have been a message there. In regards to, like... Okay, so Kylo, you know, Anakin and Kylo kind of sullied the name of the Skywalkers, right? And the point of, I think, if I'm interpreting this correctly, the point of Rey taking the Skywalker name was to signify that the name had been redeemed. However, I think the message would have been much more powerful if, one, Kylo had been the one to redeem the Skywalker name, and two, if Rey had taken the power away from Palpatine's name. I guess what I should say is I think it would have been more appropriate if Rey had redeemed the Palpatine name and instead of redeeming the Skywalker name, and Kylo should have been the one redeeming the Skywalker name. And I think it could have been a much more better message of, like, you know, your ancestors are not who you are, you know, you aren't, you know, responsible for the horrible actions of people, you know, that aren't you, but, you know, they squandered it because Disney doesn't know what they're doing. God, I hate Disney so much. They ruin everything they touch, it feels like. Yeah, the Sonic movie was pretty bad. What's another really bad movie? Oh my god, okay. Do you remember the Slender Man movie that came out a little while ago? I think it was around 2016. Yeah, exactly. Luke already redeemed Anakin. Yeah, that Slender Man movie, though. I don't know if you guys, if you've seen it. I don't know. Honestly, you shouldn't. You shouldn't see it. Yeah. It was really, really bad. It's been a little while since I seen it, so I can't really give you a play-by-play of what exactly was wrong with it. I can give you, like, it was, like, really shitty CGI, a very, like, vapid, nothing story. The characters were completely uninteresting. Also, I found it kind of gross, considering what happened surrounding that whole situation, you know, with the girls stabbing their friend to death in the woods for Slenderman, which I think I don't know if it came out after that or before, but yeah, it was bad. I think now that I'm actually considering it, I had more fun. I think there was more redeeming qualities in the Sonic movie than there was in that Slender Man movie. It was so bad. Now, a movie that people shit on, well, people that have not shit on it, but memed it to hell and back, that I actually do like was The Babadook. I don't know, have you seen The Babadook? It's a horror movie. I don't know how you feel about horror movies, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting. And it was a very, in my opinion, a very strong allegory for moving on from, like, trauma of the past. And learning to accept, you know, the demons that spawn, you know, personal demons which spawn from that. Lots of Drakes today. Hey, yo, Drake. Yeah, it's a good movie. I like it a lot. The sun... I will say, the sun was kind of unbearable at times. Not like he was bad or anything. It was just like he was very extreme. I mean, that was the point of the movie, but yeah, it was just it was definitely hard to bear the sun sometimes. God damn, it's cold. I don't usually watch horror movies. Do you like horror movies? Are you a fan of them? I know you said mainly history and science fiction, but... Oh, damn it, I took the wolf meat up here. I didn't want to do that. Whoopsies. Oh, dang. Okay. You really are a movie buff. Let's go. I kind of, you know what? I will say this. I haven't watched a lot of older horror movies, but just overall, just movies in general, older movies in general, I definitely, there's just a lot more effort back then. I've heard a lot of... Okay, so I watched... I think The Witch was a more recent movie, I believe. I did watch that. I fucking loved that movie. It was really good. And I've never watched The Lighthouse, but I've heard really good things about that one as well. Was there an older... Was there an older version of The Witch that I'm not aware of? Yeah, The Witch was really fun. We actually are really good. I watched it in theaters with my dad and my brother initially. It was intense, very intense movie. Really plays to the psychological horror aspect of it. Another movie that I kind of liked, it wasn't an old movie, it was a much more recent movie, was It Comes at Night. That one was pretty good. But anyway, yeah, no, I in regards to like older movies, they had so much more effort put into them than what we get these days, at least in terms of major blockbusters. I don't mind CGI personally, but you know, I really do miss the practical effects anymore. You know, when people used to put effort in their movies. It's not entirely... Oh no. Okay, never mind. There's my wolves. They're still mad at me. God damn. Oh, an older horror movie that I really need to see is The Thing. Yeah, like, just the effort that people put in, the creativity that was required of people to kind of like achieve the same effect as a movie would, with CGI would. It just it really lends to the passion and the creativity, and it just feels much more compelling than if it were a CGI generation thing. But yeah, it's like what is it? The movie, the original Alien. That one was I've never seen it, but that scared the shit out of people, and the Alien just felt more. Well, it felt more alien. It felt like, because it was just a dude in a suit. Yeah, the thing, I've heard really good things about it. Haha. No, pun intended. Here it's a nice little trip. Wasn't there a remake, or not a remake, but like a sequel released much more recent? Not much more recently, but like 2010 area. But yeah, sorry. Also, sorry if I fly between different subjects. You know, I'm not diagnosed with ADHD, but I wouldn't be surprised if I have it. I do really. I need to watch the original Alien movie too. I like guilty pleasure is I like the Prometheus movies. Okay, you can judge me for that. I see we have a second viewer. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you stick around. We're playing some Valheim, just chilling. Yeah, no, I have a guilty pleasure. The Prometheus movies were actually interesting to me. You know, I know a lot of people shout on them, but I don't care. And they were fun. God, I need to get my torches lit up again. And then I know that there was like the Alien vs. Predators movie, and I think there was like 2 other Alien movies. But the original Alien movie freaked a lot of people out. And it was just a dude in a suit. Oh, okay. That's really sad. That's genuinely really sad to hear that they decided to go over all the practical effects with CGI. That's you know, it just robs it of a lot of creative weight, unfortunately. You know, it's really sad because like a lot of media industries these days are just kind of like hollowed out for the purposes of selling something cheap and easy to make that they can, you know, mark up to make their money back. You know, a perfect example of this, as we all know and love, is the fucking Morbius movies. You know, just a perfect example of like just terrible, lazy CGI, no care or effort put into making it look good. You know, and that's not the. I don't even want to pretend it is not always the fault. It does. It erases a lot of people's hard work. It really does. You know. I know that there's a huge issue currently in the industry, like the animation industry and like CGI and stuff, of like just constantly being on time crunches, not getting paid well, like really bad management that just treats them poorly. Like I know there's a lot of those issues going on right now. So when we do get things like that, you know, really shitty CGI, like Multiverse of Madness, things like that, you know, it's not a deliberate effort to be lazy or uncreative, but you know, sometimes it really is just an effort to be lazy and uncreative, and it really shows, you know, like again with Morbius, or well, I'm just going to use Morbius as the example. There are a lot of other movies. Oh my god, why didn't I think of it? Lazy half-assed CGI effects. Well, someone say the Avatar movie, the Avatar show. It just looks. I've just seen trailers of it, but it just looks so silly. I saw this one clip of from the new Avatar: The Last Airbender show of Aang like flying around, like actually just flying instead of using his glider, and that just made me so mad. It's like, I don't know, it's just, I think we all know the horror. Yeah, it looks rough. It just looks painful to watch. Who knows though, I might watch it and review it. That's something I want to do, is like do reviews of bad TV shows and like bad movies and stuff. I mean, you don't know if it's bad until you watch it, but there's just, there's this, you know, I kind of have an issue here with adapting, like, animation into live action, because I just feel like the mediums are so different from each other, they don't translate well. Oh my god, excuse me. You know, there are just a lot of things you can do with animation that you can't replicate in real life or with CGI, or at least not convincingly. You know, it's, I feel like it's kind of in the same ballpark of trying to make movies out of video games. It never goes well, you know, the mediums just don't translate well enough. And it's very frustrating to see when we do get things like, you know, the Avatar show. It's frustrating because they're butchering the genuinely good works that already exist. Yeah, it's a hard thing to do. I don't think... I'm trying to think of, like, what a good example of it would be. But I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. It's just the things you can do with the different mediums are drastically different, and you end up having to compensate for a lot of what you can't do when you translate between the different mediums like that. You know, like I said, there's like video game movies that are released pretty frequently that just flop because, you know, video games don't follow the same like structures that movies do. You know, I think they're, like, using that same example, I think if you're gonna make, like, a video game out of a movie, I think you should, like, first of all, I think it should be, like, a series. Video games, even, like, the shortest ones are usually about 4 or 5 hours long, even on the shortest end. So you kind of have to be, you can't condense that down into a 2-hour movie, which... You know, as much as you may try, it just doesn't work. When you're, you know, translating, like... I mean, can you imagine if they did, like, Can you imagine if they tried to do, like, Howl's Moving Castle or something like that? In, like, a live-action medium? It just wouldn't work. You know? God, a perfect example of that is, like, the live-action Disney movies. Shitting on Disney again. I definitely don't have a problem doing that. But yeah, like the live-action Disney movies, like The Lion King. I didn't watch it, but I didn't need to. I don't think anyone needs to watch it to see how bad it is. Like, yeah, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You know, you can't achieve the same range of like expression. You can't convey like movement or like books to movies too. Books to movies too is also really rough because like there are elements of like a narrative that can't be translated in the same way. Like internal monologue happens a lot in books and novels and stuff, and that's not something you can really convey in a movie unless you're willing to awkwardly insert some voiceover, you know, in their head. I mean, sometimes that works, you know, but it has to fit the mood. Okay, you're gonna hate me for this, but I have a guilty pleasure for the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movies. I'm sorry. I also have a guilty pleasure for the Alice Madness games. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know they're bad. I know they are. I even rewatched the I rewatched the Alice in Wonderland not too long ago, and like, yeah, it's bad, but they're so fun. If a movie's fun, I will enjoy it. You know, but that's the thing, is it has to be fun. It has to be enjoyable. You know, and things like the live-action remakes of, like, Disney animated films are just not good. Like, what if we got Lion King again, right? Let's go back to when the, like, Lion King live-action movie was released, right? What if instead they just, like... I haven't seen the second one. I want to, though. I really do. I think it's silly. I think the decisions on Disney's parts are silly because they have modern technology and like animation techniques and stuff that they could have used to like truly really accomplish the vision of the original film, but they didn't. You know, for whatever reason they chose to adopt a form of media for it that it just wasn't good. It didn't work. God, yeah, no, the Cheshire Cat, I love Cheshire Cat. I love the Mad Hatter, all that stuff. Oh, I like a good movie that's a bad movie, but good because it's fun. You know what I mean? Oh, goddamn, the wolves are just breaking shit. I also like, I just like Tim Burton movies in general. I don't think there's really been one that there are some I haven't seen, but I don't think of the ones I've seen, there's really been one where I was, displeased. Yes, guilty pleasure, exactly. I have a lot of guilty pleasures when it comes to films, unfortunately. I've seen, well, I guess Babadook's not a guilty pleasure, but I've seen that a lot. Yeah, I have a lot of guilty pleasure films, unfortunately. The ones that people just don't like, that are not very good. Okay, these wolves aren't going to tame because the pen is in the wrong biome, so we're going to slaughter them. Sorry. Well, that's cool. I'm going to have to completely remake this, but that is what it is. Oh man, I'm gonna have to move so much wood. Oh well. What's another guilty pleasure film of mine? I'm trying to think. I mean, what's a guilty pleasure movie of yours? Because Alice in Wonderland is definitely a guilty pleasure movie of mine. Riddick. Oh my god. Yeah. They really do need to go back to the 2D films. They just work better, you know. Cheaper to make, nicer to look at. Broader appeal, you know. You're able to do more with less, I guess. And, you know, that's good. I'm trying to think of another guilty pleasure film of mine. Oh yeah, Riddick. I said Riddick. Riddick. Oh my god. Okay, I know Vin Diesel's kind of like a macho douchebag guy, but I love Riddick so much. I can't help it. He's such a machismo, like, even the character Riddick is like this machismo, like, big strong guy, you know, the cool guy. They're just fun to watch, you know. And I think the history of the original Riddick film, the first Riddick film, is kind of interesting, you know. It was, as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong, it was written, directed, and funded by Vin Diesel. And I think he did a pretty good job for what it's worth. Okay, those are fueled up. Now, a film series. Well, hello. Hi, Claudia. Hi. He's mad at me. He's always mad. Oh, he's talking to me. My dog is very vocal. He likes to yell at us. Now, if we want to talk about movies that I really hate, Percy Jackson movies. I really don't like those. Okay, I think he might need to go to the restroom. I will be right back. I'm going to go ahead and take him out. I hope you're still here when I come back. If you're not, thank you for tuning in and watching. Thank you for talking to me. It's been very fun. Like I said, I'll be back, but if you decide to head out, then yeah, just have a good day. I will be back. And I am back. It is very cold outside today. Hey, you're still here. Sweet. Makes me very happy. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to tune in. I know there's a lot of other streamers that you could be watching right now, so you know, my appreciation goes will continue to go completely understated, I guess. Or I guess I can't overstate it. But yeah, the Percy Jackson movies, I hated them. I read the books, of course. They did literally nothing right. And they should honestly pay for their crimes for that. Which they kind of did by failing at the box office. Oh god, and then they tried to release the second one. I completely forgot. And they have a new series coming out too. Oh my god. Yeah, they just, again, it's, you know, movie not translating, or book not translating to film very well. It's a tale as old as time. Yeah, though, it was just, you know, as a middle school, you know, a middle school kid, you know, reading these, you know, crazy books about gods and stuff, and you get very hyped for the movie, and then, you know, they go and they do what they did. Now they got a series coming out, and I have no hope for it whatsoever. I do not expect anything good to come out of it. Yeah, I just don't expect it to do well. I remember there being a lot of like really weird outrage about Grover being black in the movies. That was kind of funny. 'Cause like even when I was in middle school, I really just, I was kind of taken aback by how upset people were about it. Yeah, it is a strange time to release a film or a series. It's like trying to capitalize off of the oh god, I'm trying to think of something comparable. I'm being very clever today. I don't know, it's like it's like trying to capitalize on the hype of something popular from like fucking 15 years ago. Beanie Babies, yes, thank you. That's exactly it. That's, yep. God. Beanie Babies really were just a fucking thing, weren't they? Yeah, it's like trying to capitalize off of Beanie Babies now, you know? You're not gonna get anything out of it, and no one's going to invest. No one's gonna be interested in the Percy Jackson's series coming out. But I mean, hey, you know, it seems like it's gonna be coming out right alongside the live-action Avatar series, so we can't exactly expect the greatest things with that. God damn it. There we go. I just, you know, you kind of sit there and you hope that one day these film studios and stuff will learn. I don't know. Yeah, seriously. I don't know what possessed them to try and do this again. It didn't go so well last time. It's like, it really is kind of like, you know, a person in a wheelchair going up against Mike Tyson right now, you know? And Mike Tyson's the internet getting ready to fucking clown on it. On both of them. Honestly, I'd rather be in a wheelchair fighting Mike Tyson than watch the film or watch the those series. I mean, yeah. At least we're getting something, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Oh my lord. God, the film industry is not doing the best right now. It just feels like a lot of media industries are struggling. You know, you got like, you know, like you said, I'm a degenerate anime watcher. You know, you got a lot of issues going on there with just like, well, I mean, the work culture in Japan is pretty fucked as it is, but, you know, again, it's the same thing, like time crunches, poor management. It's just exacerbated like a million times over there. But yeah, just a lot of entertainment industries are just not doing good these days, you know? It's really sad, you know, and especially as somebody who's trying to aspire for like a future career in art and things like that. It can be very discouraging at times. But I try not to let it get to me, you know? Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. What are some of the more recent things that Warner Bros. Has released? Oh my god, were they really responsible for Aquaman? Or at least the second... Oh my god, no. Oh my god. Blue Beetle. Oh my. Yeah, that's a rough catalog there. Wonka... Is Wonka out? Did Wonka get released? Oh, that came out? Oh. I won't lie, I thought it looked kind of cute. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just kind of dog poopy. I liked, I watched the original Charlie and, or, Willy Wonka and the Charlie, I think it was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, from a long time ago. I watched that a while ago, and then I used to like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory a lot. I know a lot of people didn't like that one, but as a child, I thought it was very fun. But Wonka looked okay. It looked fine. I don't think it was offensive in comparison to some other things. Hold on. This is my other baby. My barbecue. Say hi, Barbie. She's a spaz. Yeah, Wonka didn't look as bad as some other things being released these days. She's a little demon. She attacks her brother all the time and just generally causes havoc. Yeah, just a really good movie. You know, movies just have not been good these days, honestly. They haven't really been worth the effort of going out of my way to find them and watch them, which sucks. But one that I did see recently that I really, really, really enjoyed was the Barbie movie. I liked that one a lot. It was very good. I enjoyed it. I actually cried like a little baby at the end, so, you know, I'll own up to it. It was touching. I think it had a pretty generally good, wholesome message. You haven't seen Barbie? What? You gotta get on that Barbie fever. I liked it a lot. It was really fun. It was cute. I think it had an overall good message. Margot Robbie, of course, she is stunning. I like her as an actress. You know, a lot of people. She was in Suicide Squad, and then she played she played Harley Quinn in that, and then she played Harley Quinn in the Birds of Prey, which I haven't seen. Birds of Prey. It's okay, I'm behind on films too. That was literally the most recent film I've seen. Oh yeah, she has a lot of range. She's very good. I like her a lot as an actress. Very pretty too. I can't deny that. She is a very attractive person. Yeah, speaking of bad movies, there was Suicide Squad. That was a thing. That was a guilty pleasure movie of mine for a long time, honestly. The Holdovers. I'm not familiar with it. God dang it. Cannot click it for my life. There we go. Is The Holdovers a more recent film? Oh yeah, it is more recent. Oh, okay. Yeah, this doesn't look bad. I will definitely have to give it a watch. There's a lot of movies I need to catch up on too, to be honest. I don't typically watch movies because my brain is wired wrong and I can't hold my attention. It's very difficult to hold my attention for that long with a movie. I can get bored very quickly. Gotta love the ADHD. I was not an iPad baby, but you know what? I certainly embody the spirit of it at times. Yeah, I like I said, literally Barbie was the only like 2023 film that I cared to watch. At first it was just like, oh, it's funny, you know, Barbie movie. It can't be that good, so let's find out. And then I end up crying like a baby at the end. But yeah, I don't watch recent films. If I'm gonna watch a film, it's gonna probably be something a little older. Not like super old, but you know, like 2010s to 2020s kind of range. Because again, I don't think good movies have been coming out recently. I really don't. Yeah, I heard about that Napoleon movie. I didn't watch it, but not exactly getting the greatest reviews. And the fact that, that's funny. Only 3 people in the theater. I love that though. That's the best way to watch a movie, to be honest. Even though you're going to movie theater, just like an empty theater is nice. Speaking of empty theaters, when me and my family went and saw the Percy Jackson movie, it was literally just us in the theater and one other person. So I don't know how good that movie was, though, to be honest. I know... Empire Strikes Back. Which one is that? I always forget the order of them. Okay. You were the only one there, really? That's kind of sad. Because those movies are actually, like, worthwhile. But yeah, definitely still the best way to watch a movie. You get the big screen, and if you decide to yell, you know, you're not going to disturb anyone. I just don't really like going to theaters in general, to be honest. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It's just usually, when I'm going to watch a movie, I prefer to be at home. Because I'm just like that. Because I'm shut in. People scare me. One time I went outside of my house, and I saw that I had a neighbor, and I had a panic attack for the next week, so... Yeah. I do need to invest in watching more older movies, though. I'm trying... I occupy most of my time, honestly, with playing video games. I'm trying to break that up, because as much fun as I do have with them, it can get repetitive, and I don't think that spending all day, every day playing, video games, is... just don't get as much enrichment in your life as you could from watching shows and movies and animation. I love reading books. I just need to find I like the Stormlight Archive series. I don't know if you've read that. It's by Brandon Sanderson. It's very good. I like it a lot. I'm looking forward to the new book that's going to come out. I like I will be right Alright, so sorry for the sudden cutoff. I appreciate you, like I've said 100 times, I'm gonna keep saying it. Thank you for tuning in and watching. My partner's home, so we gotta go do some stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and end stream here. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. Probably doing the same thing, Valheim. Might go over some political stuff as well. We'll see. Just depend on, you know, what I find, what I'm interested in at the time. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you had fun, consider coming back. Like the stream if you liked it, if it's really gonna do anything. And I hope to see you again. Thank you for watching, and stay safe. Have a good day. Stay healthy. Yeah. Thank you.